session is being recorded. So you can also get that too. Dr. Fana is here, so I should do the introduction.
Hi guys. I'm not sure who is logged in right now. I'm sorry, I really missed the beginning of the session. So what are we supposed to be talking about? I would like to apologize, really. It's mental health. First, okay, I like to start any session with, asking people what they would like to know. So do you guys have particular or specific questions as you're in medical school about your mental health, etc.? Anyone? Okay, I'm not sure if you'll hear me.
I can hear you. I don't know. Sometimes it can be hard balancing it, especially if people are saying that you have everything down. Since, oh, she's a medical student, that means she knows that you have to, take care of yourself and everything. But then sometimes the expectation can be too high, I guess.
Okay. Can you all hear me? I'm not, for some reason,
No?
Hold on.
Yes, we can hear you.
Hold on, eh? All right, can you all hear me?
Yes, you can.
Okay, now I think I can. All right, yeah. So somebody was asking, how do you handle the expectations that people have? And my question, who was asking? Is it Toni?
Yes.
My question is, you don't, honestly. I made that decision a long time ago as a medical student that I wasn't going to live up to people's expectations, and I was quite fine with that. So that's the first thing I would recommend. You have to just let go of those expectations. And there are a lot of realities that people who are not in your shoes will not understand. Okay, people, for example, think you are overseas, it means you have a lot of money. They think you are overseas, it means you have your life together. They think everything is nicer here, we're stunting all over the place. So people think we're really doing great. And I think we partake in that kind of pressure that people have or put on us. So my first thing is I gave up on people's expectations a long time, and I just started to, live my own life. There are a lot of assumptions, that you have to be this good person, this perfect person, but that is something I removed from my existence a long time ago. All I focus on is doing my best. And once I do my personal best, that's all. I don't care about if it's the best thing ever, but once it's the best thing for me or the best I can do at the time, that's what I focus on. I'm not sure if it answers your question.
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, any other questions?
Yes, please, Dr. Fan.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to know how. Okay, personally, I feel like at some point in medical school, everybody deals with depression,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to know how you were able to work your way through depression in medical school.
I think for me it was about, not trusting myself, but trusting God. I mean, I don't know. Okay, let me see who is on the call. I don't really know what people believe in. And I
Oh,
can't judge, I cannot impose. Some people believe in the universe, in God, and that's their choice. But for me, it was when you decide to take that step, every day in your life, you have to forget about trusting you as a human being. And this is a mistake we make a lot. We set out to trust ourselves, but we are people, human beings. It means there will never be perfection. There will always be doubts. But when you step out, you have to trust a higher entity and a higher power. For me, I can't say I went through depression per se, because I've always been a different type of, I've had a very strong personality from the get-go. But do you go through low times? Mine wasn't depression, but low times, yes. So to me, my first advice would be, don't trust yourself, trust God. And once you can trust God with yourself, you will learn to trust yourself. I don't know if it makes sense. Because when you try something, you rely on your human power. But it doesn't work that way because humans are just naturally weak, well, compared to God. So for me, even now in my life, if I want to take a step, if I think of it as a human being, I will feel like I can't do it. So I won't think about it as a human being. I'm just going to say, you know what? I'm going to step out in faith and I'm going to trust that somebody is going to take care of me. I'm not saying be reckless, but always try your best to trust the higher power. The second thing is, to me, the who you surround yourself with. That's very important. And I know many students like to be among themselves, but also get to know different people wherever you are located. Because to me, it helped me a lot. I remember after the hurricane, I wasn't a student anymore, but just knowing that I had friends and I had a place to go to was very important. And even as you are going through your journey of as a medical student, you will have, your friends, your local friends, etc. They are very important because sometimes they have a different approach to life, and you can pattern whatever they you can pattern something that they have that they're doing. The third thing is to understand that your journey is designed. And this is the hardest part for to me. It was very hard to agree with, because I'm sure everybody left their home country, coming to Dominica to spend a couple of years and then go to America and, be this fancy doctor and enjoy life and be signing checks and driving cars and having children, being married and going back, sending money back home, building houses and all that. I'm sure anybody can tell me if they can relate to that ultimate dream. Anyone?
Yes.
Exactly. So when you left home, this was the goal. And then when you get here, you are hit with reality. Why? So you can't really control all those different components. So why are you worrying about that? To me, the most important thing I decided to do was to let go. And when I started to let go, I understood what else was in place for me. As a student, there were times where there are times where your parents cannot pay your tuition fees, and this is a cause of depression. Money causes, this low mood. And then an opportunity presented itself where I started to do some jobs online. For some reason, when I started worrying about holding on, I just decided to let go and I really submitted to the will of God. And I always go back to God because I have no other explanation for my way of being and my survival. So again, trust God. Forget about trusting yourself if you can't. Meaning, when you are feeling weak, you really feel like there's nothing you can do in life. And this is the worst time to try and trust yourself. You want to trust God at that time. Surround yourself with people that will help you grow. And finally, let go. Let go of this vision you have. It's good to have goals, to have plans and everything. But sometimes your plans, you have to go through a different channel. And sometimes we are so narrow-minded. We think, you know what, I want to go, I live in Loubier, I want to go to Roseau. The only way is to use the main road. Yet God is trying to make you maybe go up Wallhouse, go up Fortney, and then still go up through Kingsley before you reach Roseau. You will reach Roseau. But God is probably trying to show you a different way. So to me, that's how I was able to manage low moods, really. At a point, I just decided to let go and trust God.
Thank you very
No problem. Any other questions?
Yes, please. I have one question.
All right.
Um, okay, so there's something I do. I try as much as possible to read every day, even though it's not so easy, so that it doesn't get too much when it comes to exams. And then maybe a day or two to my exams, it feels like everything is leaving my head. And then once I'm done with the exam, sometimes I feel disappointed. And then I remind myself, but I'm still in pre-med. Why am I feeling this way? I still have a long way to go. There was a point where I said I didn't even want to make friends that were in MD. So I don't hear, oh, you're just getting started. It's going to be tougher and all of that. So I really don't know, how do I deal with the whole anxiety before exam?
I think you have to just relax about it. But relaxing is a choice, People think that it's easy to relax, but it's not. I think you are putting so many other things in place and you want to make sure you do everything right. And this is what I call the African child syndrome. It's not a real syndrome. Don't go and study that, but that is my theory, the African child syndrome. We are sitting here with the weight of everything. We believe failure is Not supposed to happen to us. What is the worst that could happen? You study and you fail, which happens to everybody. I remember failing an exam for my first time in medical school, and my mom told me, "Good for you." I will never forget that. Big, big, big stuff. I failed the exam, and she's like, "Good." Because you, as a child, you have never failed in life. You will never know what it feels like to fail if you don't go through it. So for me, my advice to you would be, you have to relax about it. Take everything one step at a time. I think you are developing a very good habit of reading as soon as possible, because this is what is going to make it easy for you in MD. So I don't think it's too early for you to be reading as soon as you get the lectures. That is the best thing you can do for yourself. What you want to change is the way you read. You want to be smart about it, and also you want to understand that sometimes at the first read you're not going to get it. Sometimes you will do everything, and during the exam you still miss questions. That too is okay. Your real understanding will come into play when you deal with patients. It doesn't mean read how you want and fail the exam, because the exams matter. But you will notice later on in the working world that a lot of people have degrees, but not many people understand certain things. So I wouldn't say, don't be friends with your friends from MD. Yeah, enjoy your friends from MD. Let them struggle while you still chilling in pre-med. Okay, that too is it's a good relief. When people are struggling in MD and you in pre-med like chilling, that's fine too. But don't keep them away. Make sure you can, relax about it. Medical school indeed you have a long way to go. And even after you finish medical school, you think you are done, but you are just starting. Just imagine that. But what we need to stop doing as people, where we come from, there are a lot of expectations. What we need to stop doing in medical school is to decide to carry those expectations. Do your best. That's all you can do. If today you woke up at 3 a.m., you do classes until 3 p.m., that's 12 hours of awake time. When you go home, sleep. That's all. And that's the best you could do for that day. That's all. So that's my advice for you. I hope I answered your question. I don't know.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you, Dr. Paula.
All right. But I must commend your team for this. I think it's very important. I am just sorry not many people are logged in, but it's very important to talk about those things. As Black people, we always feel like we are immune, but we are not. So good job.
Thank you. I think we have one more question that is coming in. It's typed, so I'll just read it to you. And it's based on how to manage. Okay, she's asking how to manage time while studying and also stress. Because I feel like it can very easily add up.
Okay. My thing, and I always tell my students, I feel like many students have a very, very bad technique when they study. They always think, you know what, when I'm in class, let me be chilling and then I'll study later. Worst mistake. My classmates always wondered, and that's since I'm in high school, my classmates always wondered why it was that I was at all parties. When we would go out, I would go out. I'll never say, let me stay home and study. Never. But when it was time for exam, always acing my exam. My study time is during class. I don't have time to study after class. My study time is during class. And I always tell students, because when somebody is explaining something, you just decide that you're not going to learn it. And you count in, and what you forget is that later on, you're going to put twice the amount of time to learn it. So that would be my first advice for the person who asked the question. Your study time is during class. If you have a syllabus, you can read ahead of time. I'm not a fan of reading ahead of time because I feel you're not challenging your mind. You want to come there cold turkey, just understanding information. That's how you train your mind. And that's why at the hospital, when the consultant starts to say, okay, we need a CBC, we need XYZ, because you are trained to just hear something for the first time and just getting it, because you've been doing that for your entire medical school career. That's why for those who have been my students before, I hate sending slides before. I just feel, but that's just my style. I could be wrong as well. So that's the first thing. Use your class time to study. Just imagine if you're in class and you never pay attention for, that is from 8 to 3, is that what, 8 hours or so? 7 hours, or let's say 6 hours because you have a lunch break. 6 hours of your time are just wasted because you were just in class but you were not really there. And then you're trying to recover the 6 hours later on. So what happens is in the evening, we are at maybe 5 p.m. Let's say you get home, you shower, you eat, you watch some couple of movies. So we are at 6 p.m. You now have to recover 6 hours of your time, plus put in the work that you were supposed to put after learning the material. This is why a lot of students do not manage very well. Use the class time to study and use after hours to practice what you study. That is an unbeatable method, and I always recommend that. Like when I teach, I always make sure as a student, okay, who doesn't understand, I drill the students, repeat that for me, draw this, do this, because I know when you get home, this is not the time to do that. You'll be on your own. So as you can still get it wrong, get it now, and later on you're just testing your knowledge. That's the first thing. How to manage stress, you need some relaxation, and I think in Dominica you actually have a lot of that. That's an island that taught me how to just relax. I was always involved in music. I am part of a choir. I was involved in church, and to me that was the one downtime I had. Some people looked at it as if it was work, but for me it was downtime, just chilling. All right, music, whether it's you like to listen to music, sing, or whatever, use that time. And Dominica, I will always say that very beautiful when it comes to the areas where a lot of the relaxation points here are free. And right there, if you live in Lubia, you can literally walk down and go to the sea. In how many countries, other countries, you have to drive to go to the sea. Now, you don't also need the beach, you just need the water, really. And then there are a lot of affordable outing spots here. Go somewhere, have a drink for the night, and just relax. That is what my second advice. Don't be a person, and I'm not saying that you just have to go, because for church reasons, some people don't like to go out, and what's your choice is fine. But do something that is not studying. That's very important. And again, the last thing, let go. Do your best and then let go. If I study, I was in class, I listen, I practice, I want to do 10 questions, but my brain cannot take more than 5. 5 is my best for tonight. I'll do the rest after. That's all.
Dr.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Fana, this is Walton again. I personally, I am able to catch a lot of things when I listen in class, right? But then my big problem is maintaining my attention. But if I'm thinking too long, I will zone out. I will blank out, and I don't remember. I lose everything that's happening. When I come back to my senses again, I'm not able to catch up from there because I have lost a whole lot. I want to ask you, what do you think would be a good way to solve this problem?
Then for you, I mean, there are certain people like that. You can only make conscious efforts to stay focused. But because I haven't dealt with that, I'm not sure how to actually combat this. But you can have a technique now. If you find you're not really able to get the information as it's being said, meaning you will get the first 10 minutes and after you're like, yeah, peace out, I'm out of here. What you want to do is, well, two things. The direct solution for me would be, I will read everything ahead of time. Because there's something about repetition, and you see that all over the place. Ads, that's what ads do. In the same ad, they will tell you, oh, come to our restaurant, it's only $9.99, blah, $9.99, and then you can get chicken and fries $9.99. Don't forget to come and see us tonight, $9.99. You see how many times you've heard that? 4 times. So there's something about repetition that makes it stay. So for me, if I were in your shoes, I would read the material before, and then when you come to class, it's like even if you lose track, you will pick up a few things. So that's the first thing. But the second thing would be to investigate, because you will not always be able to get away with. I'm not a focused person. That's my personality. You want to change it, so investigate their activities. Knowing you, Walden, I know you like to dance a lot. So what do you do to stay focused on dance? Like if you're at a dance practice, what makes you kind of keep the focus for
Mhm.
dance practice? So when you investigate those kind of activities where you can actually focus, it will help you to apply that to school. For me, I remember the reason why um probably I would have never done um a certain music instrument is because it's too much school. I like music to be fun. So if I want to focus, I want to look at this music. If I want to like it, I want to look at the learning process as fun instead of thinking about it as school. You know, so you have activities that you love, you have activities that you're very committed to. You'll be surprised that there are people who cannot sit down um to in a lecture. Yet when they start to do this knitting stuff, they can spend 10 hours just knitting. But that is also focusing. It's just that you like this more. So what makes you actually focus on the knitting better? Or some people who are there, like some of you do a lot of videos online. And I'm like, where do you even get the energy to sit down and be doing TikTok? Like for me, I have to sit down and I have to remove this 1 second, that other second, put this, put that. And I'm like, why can people focus in school? So if you have the ability to focus, you just have to pattern the same things you do for other activities into your school. But the quick fix for me would be study ahead of time. And once you do that, you would have heard the material a few times, more than once.
Thank you very much.
All right, no problem.
Thank you, Dr. Fana. We really appreciate. Like, we really needed this actually because it's really like tough out here for us. So it was really like a good talk because I know like most people didn't know like who to talk to, and then this was like a platform for you to also share like experiences. We also really appreciate.
You all are welcome. I will stay. I mean, there are other presentations. I'm guessing I'll just stay on to listen a little bit and then head out. But good job to you all for just undertaking this. It's very important to talk about it. It's a good initiative, and maybe because it's virtual, some people feel a certain way, but I'm sure whoever is here appreciates it. So good job to the team at AMSA.
Okay, thank you very much.
So we are going to have
All right.
Okay,
Tony speak on ways to like boost your mental health and all of that. So Tony,
Sorry.
I'm going to be giving a short talk on practical ways to improve our mental health. And it's going to be very rushed since the time is about to run out, but
Oh
let's
no.
go.
Okay. I'll listen. But good job, guys.
Okay. First of all, what is mental health? According to WHO, it is a state of well-being in which the individual realizes his or her own abilities and can cope with the normal stresses of life, can work productively and make a contribution to his or her community. Is it that important? Yes, it is. And for us to be able to have a good mental health state, the first thing we need to understand is our mindset plays a role. Your mental health status is within your control, so you have to choose to be in a good state. Even if you have an illness, you still have to choose to see somebody to help you. So you have the choice whether it's good or it's not. So now, first things first, get a book, a nice looking book if you may, because that's going to be your mental health journal. And this is how we are going to use the book. First things first, take some time to think and ask yourself, what is a healthy mental state to you? Like, what are the things you see, you notice in yourself when you are in a good place mentally? So it may be optimism, it may be self-confidence, whatever it is, just write it down. Then the next thing is what your struggles are. When you're not in a good place, is it anger you're battling with? Is it frustration? Is it self-comparison? What are those things that you know take you to a bad place? Also write them down because we're going to be using that soon. And then next is, what are your triggers? You need to identify those triggers so you can know when you feel yourself slipping into the bad zone, and then you can help yourself avoid them. So now, set up a plan. you're going to need two plans: the regular mental health plan that involves, sleeping well, breaks, and all of that, and then the crisis mental health plan for when you feel you have a breakdown coming. It may be you having comfort food or a particular activity that would help you. You may be setting up a YouTube playlist of satisfying and calming videos. It may be music playlists, whatever you please. Yes. So now, first things first, guard your space. Your mind is your space. A lot of times, the things that bring us down mentally are things we allow to come into our space, and that should not be so. So first thing, spring clean your social media. Are the posts on that page making you feel angry? Are they making you feel upset, self-conscious? Does it make you feel envious or like you're not doing well enough? Then you should probably delete it. Follow pages that motivate you, edify you, that they make you want to be better, not because you're a bad person, but because that, oh, you can be a better person, like in a wholesome way, not in a you are bad kind of way. Also, appraise your friends. Not everybody has to be your friend. People can be acquaintances, people can be colleagues. You can even have friends for just specific activities. You don't have to force relationships on yourself or force people to love you, in quotes. And then if you see yourself in any toxic friendship, then just abandon the ship. And then also check yourself, because you may be the toxic one and you will need to work on yourself. Think before you click on any picture, any post, any YouTube video. Is this something that will trigger you? Like if you have anger issues, then why would you watch a post that will make you feel angry? Just swipe. Okay, now the next thing is to set goals. Setting goals, there's something about it that makes you feel like the large looming deadlines are not as large. Like if you feel like you have a huge project, when you write it down, it feels smaller, and then you break it down so you can now tick things that you have achieved. And ticking things just makes you feel like, okay, yes, I'm progressing, I'm moving forward. Next thing is to schedule breaks. Would you have time to take one day off school work every week, or maybe once in 2 weeks? Just find a break that you can just go a day and you just like do something that makes you relax. And then get a hobby, because hobbies are fun. Next is to ease off the pressure. Yes, it's good to want to be the best at what you do, but then don't pressure yourself too much. Instead, find your strength and work on those, then celebrate your wins. Also, your weaknesses, you work on them, but then you don't pressure yourself, because you know that every little step you're taking is towards the right direction. And then you are what you say. There's so many negative posts on social media. There's so many negative things that we will post on our own social media, like I am sad but I'm smiling, or something funny like that. Like, you are what you say. So just find a way where you're not constantly pulling negativity into your life by what you put out. Instead, if you find yourself needing help and you want to talk, instead of posting it on social media or something like that, find an accountability partner or a counselor or somebody that can actually help you. Feel your emotions. Newsflash, you're not Elsa. Don't conceal. Feel. If you're angry, ask yourself, why am I angry? What's triggered it? So how can I avoid this situation in future? Or how can I handle the situation better? Instead of pushing it down, use it as a learning experience. Next is to celebrate your wins. Spoil yourself because you deserve it. Even if you were just able to achieve 6 hours of reading when you wanted to do 8 hours or something, you still achieved something. So don't spend that night or that time when you're about to sleep feeling like, oh, I wasted my day. Instead, feel like, thank you, God, I achieved something, but hopefully tomorrow I'll do more. Yes, don't beat yourself up. You're doing great. You're like in medical school and you're not failing. So that's something to be proud of. Okay, next is to tune in with God. Regardless of what your religion may be, there's a peace that comes from being in God's presence. Take advantage of that peace and maximize it. Okay, so that's the end. Thank you so much for your time. We have just 1 minute to go. So if you have any questions or anything and you may not have the time for that, you can drop it in the chat and we will answer it on the school group chat. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Toni. Okay, so
So
we
I think
just have.
we have less than a minute. So I think we're done. Thank you guys for your time. I'm so grateful. And the video is going to be on YouTube. So I'll share the link to you guys in the school group chats. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you guys for coming. Bye. Have a nice day. nice week.